Today, we're going to take an in-depth look at the new Garmin Venu 3, one of Garmin's most stylized and easy-to-use sports watches that is packed with features from downloadable music support, a mic and speaker for making calls, upgraded heart rate and GPS tracking, improved sleep monitoring, and more, all accessible via this crisp AMOLED touchscreen display. However, given its identical cost and similarities to the recently released Garmin Forerunner 265, I want to help answer in this review what the differences between the two are so you can better decide which may be the best fit for you. So let's break it all down, and if you're a fan of sports watches or fitness tech and just appreciate unbiased reviews that get right to the point without wasting your time, consider liking this video or perhaps even subscribing to Connect the Watts if you want to see more videos just like this. So the Garmin Venu 3 comes in two versions depending on the size that you prefer. There's the regular Venu 3, which is what I have here, that has a 1.4-inch display and weighs 30 grams without the strap. And then there is the Venu 3S that has a slightly smaller 1.2-inch display and weighs about 3 grams less. Outside of their size, weight, and battery, which I'll talk more about later on, both the Venu 3 and 3S are pretty much exactly the same. Both use Gorilla Glass, which is a pretty solid choice to prevent most scratching to the screen. They are both reinforced with stainless steel and reinforced polymer, which helps keep it durable. Both have a water resistance of 50 meters, and both come with a silicone strap, which, while I didn't find this strap to be the most comfortable, the quick release allows it to be replaced with any 22mm strap for the Venu 3 or 18mm strap for the Venu 3S. Moving on to the touchscreen, the always-on AMOLED display looks great. It's bright and colorful and is very responsive and easy to use. As with most Garmin watches, this watch face can be endlessly customized with hundreds of options to choose from, many of which are free, but some can be bought by their creators for a small fee. The design and layout here is some of the best that Garmin has ever come up with. A few of my favorites being that all the apps can now be selected in the same area that you would start a workout, making it easier to select whether you want to begin an activity or slide it over to the apps to access something else. I also really like the shortcut options here, with the Venu 3 being able to customize the middle button tap, middle button hold, and right swipe. And the right swipe shortcut is my favorite, making it extremely easy and quick to access a frequently used app. In my case, I have it set usually to the stopwatch. The Venu 3 also has an improved battery life with up to 14 days of regular use, or 10 days if you go with the smaller Venu 3S. However, if you use the always-on display, that will cut the battery life to around 5 days, which is still pretty great for an AMOLED sports watch like this. The Apple Watch, for comparison, gets a little less than 1 day of battery life, so this is still an area that Garmin really excels at. Now, in terms of features, the Garmin Venu 3 has a lot going for it, really feeling more like a smartwatch in some ways than most of Garmin's other watches. There's 8 GB of memory that can be used towards music storage, which when connected to Spotify or Amazon Music is very easy to download and update playlists with, especially since the watch can do so directly through your own Wi-Fi. The sleep monitoring has been improved here with a new nap tracking and sleep coach feature, though the nap tracking feature can be a bit of a hit or miss. Sometimes I would just be reading and it would record that as a nap, and other times I would actually take a nap and it wouldn't register it at all. So take from that as you will. The sleep coach feature is also interesting. It takes your training and previous few nights of sleep and recovery and naps and takes it all into account as it decides how much sleep you should be getting. But it feels like it still needs a lot of work, as it just assumes that the baseline for everybody is 7 hours and 50 minutes of sleep, and then will aggressively add on additional sleep suggestions if you don't hit it. At one point, I believe it was suggesting that I sleep for over 10 hours, which, whether that is true or not, just doesn't feel very useful as a suggestion. But I'm sure there will be plenty of chronic undersleepers who do benefit from this guidance. There's a new and improved hydration app that is already installed on the Venu 3, which I actually really like because I'm somebody that needs to track my hydration sometimes, and the previous hydration app was just terrible and was one of the reasons that I would occasionally go over to the Apple Watch instead of Garmin. But with this update, that is no longer the case, and with the new shortcut options that I mentioned earlier, being able to track your water has never been easier. Another feature that I like about the Venu 3 that again makes it feel a bit more like a smartwatch is now you can easily see the challenges you are signed up for and the progress towards various badges that you can earn each month. And this is especially great for those who need some sort of carrot on a stick to be able to hit your walking or running goals. Of course, here you can also see all kinds of other health and workout metrics like your steps, body battery, HRV status, schedule, notifications, weather, recovery, and whatever else you would like to add to the watch. All of it looks slick and can be clicked on to see further stats and graphs with more info. Now, one of the most unique aspects to the Venu 3 is its ability to receive and answer calls directly on it, as the watch has both a speaker and a mic set up for that purpose. Of course, this only works for those without an iPhone, so unfortunately I was not able to test it out, though even still I am a bit skeptical of its usefulness, mainly because you do need to have your phone with you in order to make a call, and in that case you could answer a call with better clarity if you're wearing any modern earbud or headphones. So this would really only be useful for those who want to answer a call when they are training without headphones. Now, I'm sure there are going to be plenty of people who find this very useful, but personally, I just would never really use it. And in terms of features, the one big feature that you miss out on with the Garmin Venu 3 is the ability to have any sort of routing or navigation, but we'll discuss this a bit more when we compare the Venu 3 with the Garmin Forerunner 265. But first, let's cover accuracy, and this in general is where Garmin really shines, and the Venu 3 is no exception. In terms of heart rate, the Venu 3 has Garmin's new updated heart rate sensor, which has so far been excellent on all of the watches I have tested it on, and also is very reliable here, if not more so than some of the others, likely because it is lighter and thus has less of a tendency to move on your wrist. The heart rate testing that I did comparing this to a Polar H10 strap shows that this watch is one of the most accurate that I have ever tested. The GPS was also surprisingly good, and I say surprisingly because the Venu 3 only offers single band GPS support, which, while okay, is usually not anywhere near as good as the watches that offer dual band GPS support, especially in areas that have a lot of buildings or walls or cliffs that can get in the way of a GPS signal. But Garmin seems to have implemented a new algorithm, so despite it being a single band GPS, it's still really good and probably one of the most accurate single band GPS sports watches that I've seen. So it's less of a drawback on this watch than it may have otherwise been. Now, I do want to compare the Venu 3 to the Garmin Forerunner 265 because these two watches are extremely similar. They are both the same price, pretty much the same size, and have the same AMOLED display. The differences between the two really comes down to just a few things. What makes the Venu 3 unique is really that it feels a bit more like a smartwatch, especially with the ability to reply to text and answer calls if you have an Android. The Forerunner 265 is different in that it offers a bit more in terms of sports functionality, the two biggest of which is that it offers dual band GPS support, which is going to be a little bit more accurate, but more importantly, at least for me, it offers navigation and turn-by-turn routing, whereas the Venu 3 does not. I would say that the accuracy is less of a difference between the two, but the navigation is the much bigger difference. So it's a trade-off between navigation and smartphone connectivity like texting and calling. Either way, both are excellent sports watches and some of the best that have been released this year. And if you want to see a more in-depth review of the Garmin Forerunner 265, you can watch that here. As always, this is Colin Jenkins with Connect the Watts. Appreciate you being here, and I'll see you next time.